There is nothing unusual or exceptional about this case. Wrong is wrong, and nothing about my son's murder is different from the history of ignorance and abuse that has stolen the lives of Nubian colonial rule. My son had no criminal history. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts, my emotions, my anger, and my frustrations at the inhuman training that my son's murderers are blaming their actions on. Being a firefighter was one of my many dreams for myself when I grew up, like most children. While living in Park Hill and going to high school as a freshman at Manual, I was often making my own food to eat. One day, while I was cooking kindness that was not based on the color of my skin or the ignorance of society. The firefighters put my mind at ease as they explained to me what I needed to do to take care of my burns and to make sure I was not caught in a dangerous situation like that ever again. Before that day happened, during that moment, and for years after, I have always looked at firefighters as local heroes until the day they assisted in murdering my son, Elijah McClain. As I sat through the trial, listening to how they were attempting to explain their actions away, there was a repetitive statement that was used to imply no fault. You cannot say that you are not training people to be robots when there is a lack of humanity in their actions of those that employ or that you are, let me calm down here. You cannot say that you are not training people to be robots when there is a lack of humanity in the actions of those you employ or work for. You cannot say that you are not training people to be robots when those individuals lack the compassion, kindness, consideration, and empathy that is required in their service jobs. You cannot say that you are not. There is no excuse for a firefighter who is trained to save or preserve life to just stand by and watch Elijah's life, except for one of their own colleagues. Elijah was unconscious for an extended amount of time when he was held down and injected with ketamine. He did not wake up. Again, I watched my son's murder on body cam video so many times because I wanted to know why they did not save him. I wanted to know why every firefighter that was there that night felt no responsibility. They felt no need to stop the brutality that was happening to my son as he pleaded for his life. I even saw on the videos the two firefighters that were standing by my son's head smirking at my son's turmoil. While Elijah was being held down for no reason by 3 killer cops who were granted a free pass as criminals, firefighters did nothing. Every firefighter there that night heard Elijah talking English. They heard Elijah ask for help. Every firefighter there that night heard Elijah make numerous sounds associated to the pain he was experiencing by the 3 killer cops. Peter Kachuniak saw that Elijah was being terrorized and brutalized for a significant amount of time without interference. Peter Kachuniak knew that Elijah had thrown up, and since I was able to hear Elijah's breathing patterns change just from watching the videos, I am certain that Peter Kachuniak heard Elijah's breathing difficulties as well. The point I'm making is that they want to blame their inhuman actions on their inhuman training, but reality is that they could have done something simply by just saying, "Stop hurting my patient." Instead, they chose to make the situation worse for my son and implicated themselves in my son's murder by attempting to cover up the brutality of my son's murder with a chemical sedative. Yes, you heard me. That's exactly how I see it. They are accomplices to my son's murder because they provided the supplies to make sure, I apologize, I tend to talk fast. Provided the supplies to make sure, I apologize, I tend to talk fast. They are accomplices to my son's murder because they provided the supplies to make sure Elijah would not only remember what happened to him, but Elijah would not survive the police lynching him because he is another Nubian citizen in the American states. I was pissed off at the hypocrisy of Peter's lawyer, who decided she wanted to show me her white power privilege in this courtroom by walking over to me from sitting beside my son's murderer just to say how sorry she was for my son's unfortunate passing. I call out her BS. I was pissed off to hear the other firefighters that were there that night who were smirking at
Man, y'all, I hate this internet service. This shit.
my son's illegal kidnapping and